Good evening. What a special evening this is. And it is my honor to welcome you. I'm McKee, and I have the privilege of serving as Transplant Administrator. On behalf of our Mayo Clinic Transplant community, thank you. We are in awe of this community of generosity. We are in awe of the stories we've heard over the past hour. Tonight is about you. And we hope that over the next hour program, you will experience a glimpse of the gratitude that we have for you. I'll offer several thank yous, and then I'll kick off the program. This evening was made possible by a remarkable team of transplant staff, some of whom joined our transplant center earlier this year, some who have been for 35 years dedicating themselves to this work. I'll ask members of the planning committee to please stand now so we can recognize you. A special thanks to Mayo Clinic Facilities, who kept the Damon ramp, where many of us parked this evening, open for one more night before demolition starts tomorrow to make space for the new hospital. You are the last people who will park in the Damon ramp. We're grateful to our partners from AV Logic and to members of the media who invested their time to help share your stories. We're also extremely fortunate in Transplant to have the steadfast support of leadership throughout Mayo Clinic, those who lead surgical services, our hospital inpatient practices, shared services, and others. We are so grateful that you've joined us this evening, and we're so grateful for all that you do to enable the gifts that we witness here in this room. Finally, to caregivers. No gift happens in isolation, and this is especially true of the gift of life through living donation, which is a team sport. Caregivers, your generosity, strength, patience, presence shape every step in the journey. I want to actually thank one caregiver in particular because I don't have the chance very often. He's also the best person I know, and that's Matthew Webster. My kidney donation was 5 years ago, and at the time, our kids were 2, 4, and 6. Matthew, your care for all of us then and always is what allows our family to try to be generous. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, all caregivers. Now, to open our program, we are delighted to share a message from Mr. Jarlath Regan. Jarlath is a comedian from Dublin who donated a kidney to his brother here at Mayo in 2017. He went on to share his experience through a global stand-up comedy tour, and he opened several of his shows with this premise. A few years ago, my brother rang me from the United States of America to ask if I would fly over to be tested to see if I was a match to give him a kidney. I should point out he did really need it. He's not just one of those brothers who wants everything you have. Please enjoy Jarlath's video message for each of you.
My name is Jarlath Regan, and I've probably been introduced already as a stand-up comedian from Ireland who donated a kidney to his brother in February of 2017 at the Mayo Clinic. But that really was just the beginning of my story, and for my brother, the new beginning of his story. He would be dead by now were it not for that kidney. After I donated the kidney to my brother, I wrote a stand-up comedy show about the experience That show was called Organ Freeman. I know, it's a good name. I toured the world with that stand-up show, telling the story of how this miracle came about. My wife has a terminal illness herself with kidney involvement. She herself could need a kidney, more than likely will need a kidney at some point down the road. We have one beautiful child. At the time, he was only 6 years old. There was a lot to consider. I had hoped to be there tonight to perform stand-up comedy for you and to tell you that I hope you all realize that we, donors, living donors, are part of an elite group of people like Navy SEALs. We are the ultra kindest people in the world. And I wear that like a badge of honor, and so should you. I believe that a lot of Irish men walk around this earth hoping to leave a legacy of kindness behind them. They want people to say, oh, he was a very kind man. They don't know how to achieve that. That's why they're always buying beers for people. Organ donation is the hotkey, the shortcut to the ultimate legacy of kindness. I and you never have to worry ever again for the rest of our lives over whether people think we were good people. That's worth remembering this evening. We have the scar and the certificate from the Mayo Clinic to tell people we are the best of people. I wish I could have been there this evening, but I know that this evening is going to be so special. Have a fantastic time. Congratulations to you, and let's live this life and enjoy it, because that's why we did it in the first place.
And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something beautiful. And you know, for you I bleed myself dry. For you I bleed myself dry.
Good evening. I'm Julie Heimbach, one of the transplant surgeons at Mayo Clinic and the director of the Transplant Center. Thank you all for your attendance at this event. I was so worried nobody would come, but obviously we've filled the space, so it's just amazing. Tonight we are gathering. It's actually the 25th anniversary of our living donor liver transplant program, and we're just past the diamond anniversary of our living donor kidney transplant program. We are here to celebrate and honor the people who have made these anniversaries possible, our living donors. Because of your trust in us, starting with our first living donor liver transplant performed on April 11th, 2000, we've been able to move ahead to transplant for a total of 336 liver transplant recipients. And from our first living donor kidney transplant performed November 25th, 1963, we've been able to go ahead for life-saving kidney transplantation for 4,918 kidney transplant recipients. I would like to note at this time that our second overall living donor at Mayo Clinic is with us this evening, Miss Beverly Staples, who donated January 20th, 1964. Tonight, she's here with us. I think it's okay if I share. Beverly's 88 years old, so those of you that just donated last year, you can see that this is perfectly safe. It's great. Tonight, we are in the presence of more than 300 extraordinary people, from state troopers to senior project managers, from farmers to pharmacists, hospital administrators to hotel managers, who step forward to save the life of another. This remarkable generosity and bravery demonstrated by our donors is most often done on behalf of someone that they know. But at Mayo Clinic, we also have a program for non-directed donors. Since starting our non-directed living donor kidney program in 2002, we've had 111 kidney donors who step forward to save the life of someone they do not know. And our non-directed living donor liver transplant program, which started in 2020, since then we've had 15 individuals who have gone forward as non-directed living donor liver donors. Our non-directed donors make transplant possible not only for their recipient of their gift, but often they're part of a paired exchange or a donor chain, thereby making donation and transplant possible for multiple other recipients who have a non-compatible living donor. Through your remarkable gifts of organ donation, Mayo Clinic has been able to perform complex, innovative transplants, treating complex problems for patients who were thought to be not eligible for transplant at other programs. Again, we can only offer these life-saving cures to these previously unsolvable problems because of you. I know that I'm speaking not only for myself, but for many of my transplant center colleagues when I say that working with living donors is absolutely the most inspiring and rewarding part of my job. Thank you. I'm now going to ask for a little bit of audience participation. If I call your group, I would like you to stand, and then please remain standing. If you are a dual donor, meaning you've donated both a liver and a kidney, I would ask you to stand at this time. This is a very elite club. Okay, no, you gotta keep standing. Keep standing. Keep standing. I would like you to stand if you are a donor who works at Mayo Clinic. This is another elite club. I would like you to stand if you traveled from outside of Minnesota to be here tonight. I'd like you to stand now if you are a liver donor, and keep standing. I'm going to let you sit soon. If you donated your liver, please stand. And if you're not already standing, if you've donated a kidney, now please stand. Now stay standing. I'm going to let you sit real soon. So if your donation happened in the last 10 years, since July of 2015, you may now sit. If your donation was in the last 20 years, since July of 2005, you may now sit. If your donation was in the last 30 years, since July 1995, you may now sit. Oh my goodness. Okay, if your donation was in the last 50 years, since July 1975, you can sit. Okay. All right, Ms. Staples, you get to stand now. If your donation was beyond that, so people have been more than 50 years, I would just give you a big hand. Thank you. Okay, well, I'm just going to ask now our two donors who donated more than 50 years. It's so amazing. If you could just please let us know your name and where you're from, that would be wonderful. Who you donated to?
I'm Berna Lee, and I am from Decorah, Iowa, and I donated to my sister.
Thank you so much. Beverly Staples. Okay.
Oh, what am I doing?
Ms. Staples, just let us know your name, where you're from, and who you donated.
I don't hear. My name is Beverly Staples, and I gave the first kidney in 1964, actually, was the surgery. But we were in the hospital a long time before.
Thank you.
It was experimental.
Yes, it was. Thank you so much. She donated to her brother. Thank you, Ms. Staples. And there's 2 more in the back. We're just going to allow it just to hear that these 2 more in the back who were more than 50 years ago.
February 1972, kidney to my father.
Thank you.
For 27 years.
My name's Dave LeClaire. I donated a kidney to my father 51 years ago.
Another very important group to thank, which I know that Katie already did it. Oh, do we have one more? Sorry, one more. 2 more. Okay, this is so amazing.
Richard McMahon. I donated to my brother in 1973.
Wow, this is
My
amazing.
brother's here with me tonight.
I'm Jan Bettner. I donated to my younger sister in 1973.
My name is Al McCullough. I donated to a younger brother in 1972.
I'm Roseanne Waters, and I donated to my dad in 1973.
I'm Dennis Schumacher. I donated to my brother in April 25th, 1969.
Okay, it looks like that's just phenomenal. Thank you all so much for sharing that. One more round of applause. And I know that Katie already thanked them, but I also need to do this because another really important group to thank is our Mayo Clinic Transplant Center staff, who, in addition to performing multiple living donor surgeries this week, as well as nearly every other week since we started our program, also planned this wonderful recognition event. And at the end, they created a thank you video. You will see this special video put together also by the Transplant Center staff. So it's somewhat like getting a homemade birthday card from one of your children. It's full of love, but not necessarily polished, but you'll be seeing this at the end of the event, okay? It is now my great honor and privilege to introduce this evening's keynote speaker, Dr. Amy Williams, who is the Executive Dean of Practice at Mayo Clinic. Dr. Williams is a professor of medicine and a nephrologist at Mayo Clinic. So as a kidney doctor taking care of patients on dialysis, she can truly appreciate the magnitude of the gift of organ donation. This month, she celebrates 35 years of service at Mayo Clinic, where she has held numerous leadership roles, including serving as the first woman to chair the Department of Medicine. She now leads both the Mayo Clinic and the Midwest Clinical Practice Committees. Her visionary leadership has shaped hospital operations, improved patient flow, and enhanced team effectiveness across Mayo Clinic and beyond. A recipient of the Doctors Mayo Society Lifetime Achievement Award, Dr. Williams has long championed career development, inclusion, and excellence in clinical care. She is also a fierce advocate for her patients, some of who have been the recipients of your generous gifts of donation. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Amy Williams.
Well, wow, look at this audience. This is amazing. Thank you, everyone. It's hard for me to, and thank you, Dr. Heimbach. It's hard for me to really tell you how much this means to me, to so many patients, to so many individuals, and really what a profound honor it is to be here among all of these heroes. But again, I want to thank everyone. This is such an amazingly profound honor to be here. And once again, I refer to you all as heroes. Not the kind of heroes that we see or in the movies or we read about in books, but living heroes. People who gave a piece of themselves to help others live. That is a hero, and that's who you all are. What you have done, what you chose to do, so it was your choice to do it. You actually gave so many a second chance at life. What you gave them was time. What you gave them was hope. And what you gave them was their future. In medicine, you know, we all get really excited about new technological advances and new groundbreaking therapies. But what is really amazing is when somebody says, hey, I can help. Yes, I can. I can give. What that means to the individual who receives that organ is so powerful. It is a second chance at life. What you give is you give them the ability to even think about their future, which often they don't do because they don't see a future ahead of them. To donate an organ when you are living is really a unique act of bravery. And what you do is truly a second chance. It is selfless. It is exactly what we need. And it truly is the embodiment of what humankind can do at its best. And that is to give something to somebody else to allow them to have a future. It is so, it's so amazing to me what you have done. And as a physician, I walk with many, many patients who are at the edge of uncertainty and wondering what the next week will mean for them. But then suddenly, because of you, they are gifted their future. Their life changes. Their ability to continue to live, to be with families, to be with their loved ones. Because of you, they can do that. I have had the privilege of watching families start to breathe again. I've had the privilege of being in the hospital room after a transplant, and I have watched the flow of tears, of being so joyful, so incredibly grateful for a gift, the flowing tears of the family and the recipient of that organ. It is life-changing for everybody in the room, but as you can imagine, mostly and specifically for that patient and their family. They are overwhelmed with gratitude, and that is because of all of you. So thank you very, very much. What you have done really is you have transformed fear into freedom for these individuals with an organ donation. That's exactly what happens. The impact of your gift doesn't stop just with the recipient, but it ripples forward, and it goes through the family. It goes through the community. It impacts another whole generation, You are the ones that spark the light for somebody else to give that organ, because it is selfless, it is meaningful, and it allows somebody else to have a life. I want to share a few stories. You've been told that I'm a nephrologist, but some of these stories, it really shows the thread that ties us together. I want to talk about one woman that amazed me from the moment I met her. And she had a chronic kidney disease that over time, what would happen is this disease just causes the kidneys to fail slowly. So she knew all about her kidney disease. She knew that if she became pregnant, that the needs of her body would overwhelm her kidney, but she was determined to start her family when she could. And so she did. She lost enough kidney function during her pregnancy that she needed dialysis, had intensive dialysis every day a week to keep her well and to keep that baby well. She knew the risks for her and that child, but she was determined, and she delivered a healthy baby girl. This was such a meaningful event, and even now, years later, she was one of the first patients I ever had when I came on staff at Mayo Clinic. When we see each other, which is sort of frequently, in the grocery store usually, we look across the aisles to each other, and it is this magnet, and we come together. And we make a fuss, we're smiling from here to here, we cry a lot, and we hug each other. But what is amazing to me is I look at her, and she is just thriving. She has a young adult child, a woman who has a career, she's doing very well. Now, if you remember in the story before the last announcement, she actually was on dialysis because her kidney function had decreased so much. But again, somebody came, someone she didn't know, and said, yes, I can help. Yes, I can give. And she got a kidney transplant. She continues to have that kidney, and it is working for her. She looks great. She feels wonderful. Wish that she had started earlier having children, and she would have had more. This really tells us the impact of kidney donation and any organ donation. It allows someone to live the life that they have always wanted to live. It is absolutely amazing. And I hope to see her again in the grocery store. I go every day just hoping that she's there, actually. But it is stories like hers that really makes this role and this job for all of us here at Mayo Clinic so important and gives us such meaning in what we do, which is very similar to you all that have donated organs. It gives such meaning, and you're grateful to be able to have that ability to do it. And so maybe you have heard, many of you who have donated organs, you've heard the gratitude and the joy. As someone who sits beside patients every week, people living with the exhaustion of their chronic disease, I want you to hear this clearly. You changed the story for them. By donating an organ, you have changed their life and you have changed their story. Whether you donated to somebody that you love or somebody that you have never met, you gave life, you gave joy, and you gave peace. One thing that I think about a lot, because a patient told me this once, that patients don't get vacations. Patients don't get vacations from their disease. But because of you, they get relief, they get normalcy, and they get to imagine their future and create their future, and they never thought they could prior. Alex Haley, who is a Pulitzer Prize winner and the author of Roots, he had a motto that he lived with. And it is quite meaningful, and we all need to think about this motto and how we could also live this way. His motto is, find the good, and praise it. Think about that. Find the good and praise it. And in all of our busy lives, it's really important that we really take time to do that. And tonight, we have so much good in this room that we cannot tell you how important your role has been for so many individuals. And we really, really thank you for this. There are those in the audience here today who stepped forward and donated an organ. Your courage and compassion are the good that we celebrate over and over again. And we owe you the deepest respect. You remind us what it means to be human. You show us that love extends beyond family and that empathy is stronger than fear. Each of you has left a permanent legacy. And someone also talked about legacies. You all have one already. And then there are the families and the loved ones who supported the donor's decision. Your strength, your support, and your willingness to walk alongside this individual who made this choice, this is part of the gift. This is part of the gift that the donor gives to patients. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now I'll ask, with a show of hands, how many of you know someone who has had a transplant? Someone in your family, anybody? How many of you know someone? That is amazing. That is great. Of course, some of you gave an organ to somebody that you now know, but it really is amazing. And it's really for these individuals, it's giving them hope. It's giving them life. It's giving them what they need to continue on. And thank you so very much. And then there are the recipients. Their lives, this is truly a testament to the miracle of human connection. I know that they carry the gift that they have been given with reverence. I see the gratitude in their eyes all the time, and the determination. They actually tell us this, the determination to live the way that honors the individual who gave them this gift of life. And this is so true for those that receive an organ. And then there are the care teams, including the surgeons, including the administrative team, and it's the researchers, and it's the scientists, and everybody behind the scenes who are making all of this possible through the skills that they have, the dedication, and the absolute focus on doing the best thing for our patients for the best outcomes possible. This is what this is all about. But I wanted to say before that is that this room is so filled with goodness and with the goodest of the good. And so thank you for everything that you have done. Tonight, I also want to invite you to look at the future with hope. And it's because there have been incredible advances and many on the horizon of biomanufacturing organs and that are tailored for patients, and new resources that are being developed with the goal of not needing any immunosuppression after somebody gets a transplanted organ, or even better than that, for those organs that are failing, new therapies to allow those organs to heal and not even need a transplant. Our science moves forward quickly, and it is inspired incredibly by the generosity that you all have. They realize we need to help too. We need to move forward. Thousands still wait for an organ. And I want to paint you a picture of that impact. So right now, one of the people I'm caring for on dialysis is a young father who has chronic kidney disease and is on dialysis. He has a full-time job. He's finished his education. He is right next to his wife, taking care of their many young children. And he is also being able to really balance the ability to be on dialysis, have end-stage renal disease, and the grind of that while waiting for a transplant. He actually got a transplant at age 19 from his father, but because of his primary disease, the new kidney got that disease, and that's why he's on dialysis now. But he has hope because of you all. You are the reason he has hope. He is on 3 transplant lists, all of the Mayo Clinic facilities that actually do transplants. He's there waiting. But it's because of you he has hope. Your stories, your courage could be the spark for another act of generosity, another life saved, more birthdays, more graduations, more bedtime stories, more ordinary and extraordinary days with loved ones. That's what you give these individuals. So to every living donor in this room, and to those who love them, let me say this: there are no words deep enough to capture the kind of courage and generosity that live in this room. You are the embodiment of what humanity can do at its best. There is no way to totally thank you and to really express what you have done. On behalf of those whose lives you have saved, being grateful, and on behalf of grateful families and every medical professional in this room, I offer my deepest thanks, never taking for granted the miracle that each of you have made possible. Thank you for showing us the power of compassion. Thank you for your selflessness. Thank you for the gift of life. You are not just part of the healing, you are the foundation of it. You are the heart of the healing. Thank you all very much. This is so meaningful, and what you do is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams. It's truly an honor to have you here with us tonight. I'm now delighted to ask Ms. Kay Cosberg to come up, and Kay is actually our amazing living donor coordinator. We actually would not have a program without all of you. We would not have a program without Kay either. So thank you so much, Kay. And she is going to lead a panel discussion of some 4 of our amazing donors. So please come on up, 5, 6, however many we have.
All right, good evening, and thank you to all the donors. Like Dr. Heimbach said, my name is Kay Cosberg, and I'm one of the living donor coordinators. So I know a lot of you, and it's been wonderful to kind of reconnect, and so thank you all for coming back tonight. So we've just invited a few donors up here to kind of tell a little bit about their stories. So I'm just going to introduce them and pose a question. So we'll start with Christy Sue on the end. She is our Minnesota State Patrol Trooper, who connects with people in truly unique and meaningful ways. And you donated a kidney and part of your liver. And we understand your path to donation was first sparked by a chance meeting with a gentleman who is now your husband, Steve. Would you tell us about that meeting and how it impacted your decision to be a donor? Oh, where is it? Oh. Is it on? Okay.
Okay, so like any true love story, we met at a gas station in the middle of the night. A little less like a Hallmark movie and more like the beginning of a Dateline episode, but that's where the local police officers and the troopers would stop for break. So I got to know of this person, but I didn't know him very well. And at some point, he had mentioned that he couldn't play contact sports when he was growing up because he only had one kidney. And the first thing that fell out of my face was, oh, you can have one of mine. If you need it, you can have one of mine. And what I meant was I would give my kidney to anyone that needed it. But how he took it was as a pickup line, I guess. He said, nobody has ever offered me anything like that except for my mom. And then my head is going in a completely different direction of I would offer it to anyone. So fast forward, we started dating and we got married. And after we were married a while, I had heard of someone else that I knew through another person that could potentially need a kidney at some point. And I was like, well, they can have mine. And I figured I keep offering this up. I should probably look into what goes into kidney donation. So I Googled it and I got the Mayo Clinic and I saw that you could do a non-directed donation. So I quickly filled out the original questionnaire for that. And then I texted my husband and I said, you okay if I donate a kidney? And his immediate response was, oh, sure. And when I had fear in that process, he had faith. And he said if I could have a kidney removed in the 80s where the use of pain treatment was biting on a stick real hard, you can make it just fine. And the Mayo Clinic treated me so well through that whole kidney donation, and it was a non-directed donation, that I just felt that I had more to give. And if I had more kidneys, I would continue to give kidneys fresh out. And so then I went down the path of donating a portion of my liver in a non-directed way. And again, it was such a wonderful and rewarding process. I would absolutely do it again if I could. And just as another little tidbit, I still have my right kidney and my husband still has his left kidney, so we make a perfect pair.
All right, thank you. That was lovely. Next is John Maxey. He is also a kidney and liver donor, and he somehow enjoys ultra marathons. I don't know. But he loves to do that, and he dedicates his time to speaking with people who are considering donation. Now, you donated your kidney in your home state, and then you came to us to donate a portion of your liver. Could you kind of tell us what influenced your decision to trust Mayo Clinic with such a meaningful event in your life?
Yeah, and first off, I'm from the deep south, y'all, so I told Molly we might need subtitles, and she said we'd be fine, but we'll see. We will see. But yeah, so the question made me giggle a little bit because the question is basically, why would I leave the medical desert known as Mississippi to come to the Mecca of medicine at Mayo Clinic? That's a pretty easy decision, to be quite honest with you. Basically, Mayo Clinic's known worldwide. Everybody in this room knows that. But even down in Mississippi, if you have a problem that's not solvable by the hospitals down there, this is one of the first places you try to get into. And everybody knows the motto, the patient's need comes first. Man, that is so true here. And I'd like to tell you something. Everybody knows that's true, and everybody knows Mayo Clinic has the best surgeons, the best researchers, all of that. But my experience here was that they also have the best nurses, the best donor coordinators, the best histocompatibility people. And yes, they have the best janitorial staff, bar none. Absolutely. What I'd like to say tonight is that there's something about that leads into. There's another position at Mayo Clinic that does not get the recognition that some of the other positions get. There's a position here at Mayo Clinic that comes into my story. I donated a kidney in Birmingham at UAB to a stranger back in 2019, and then 2 years later, I convinced my wife I wanted to do it again, and that was a fun conversation. So I got ready to donate a liver, and I was at Duke University in North Carolina, and we had just had, everybody in this room knows what a dry run is in transplant. So we basically got all the way up to donating my liver to a stranger at Duke, and it didn't go through. And so I waited about 1.5 years trying to find a recipient at Duke, and eventually I just gave up, and I asked Duke if I could just find a recipient. And they said, yeah, do what you want to do. So I got on Twitter, and this was before Twitter became a cesspool. But anyway, so in 2023, I made a post on Twitter. I expected it to go nowhere. It went viral, and the post was basically, hey, I'm an approved liver donor at Duke. I need a recipient with type A blood. I don't give a damn where your hospital is. I'll be there. And believe it or not, somebody in this room whom I've never met, is Kristen here tonight with the social media team? Kristen, can you stand up? She's in the back. She's in the back. So, Kristen actually DM'd me within about an hour of that post going viral, and she said, we can help. And I wrote back, yeah, right, nobody in the South has been able to help. And she said, well, we just started a liver donor pairing program. Do you know what that is? And I said, yes, I absolutely know what that is. She said, we can find you a recipient. And she said, you need to come to Minnesota. When can you come? I said, tomorrow. So I came up here. I've never met her before, but I'm so glad she's here tonight, because after I got through my transplant, thanks to Dr. Tanner here, you know, he's above average. So, yeah, but thanks to her responding, the man that came with me tonight, stand up, Paul. Paul is actually alive today because Kristen reached out on social media and did the Mayo Clinic standard of going above and beyond someone who, I wasn't even her patient yet. But because of Kristen, Paul is alive today. That's my liver recipient. So that's about all I've got. I just wanted to say that I'm very glad that I'm a footnote in the Mayo Clinic story now at this point, and I make the 13-hour drive up here for a sniffle now, so yeah. So, thank y'all.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have Ian McCullough. Ian, you join us today from the Bay Area, from California, so thanks for making the trip out here. And out there, you bring people together through education and technology. And 20 years ago, you donated a part of your liver to your dad. Can you tell us how these last couple decades have meant for you, for your dad, for your family?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say what the last 3 or 4 minutes have been trying to follow the non-directeds here. You didn't put the chair order together. I mean, like, you want to talk compassion and heart. Like, that was that. But in my story, Dad, stand up, please. This is my father, Jack. And in my case, it's my dad. And it's about the memories and the moments. That choice then was about what we might have maybe for a year. That was my deal with God. I was like, if I get a year out of him, I won't be pissed at you. And God gave me 20. And he did the work. And in that 20 years, it's a matter of numbers. I mean, first and foremost, he got to be here to be part of the memories of 1 high school graduation, 2 college graduations, and then one of those went on and got a master's degree in nursing. Shout out to the nurses in the room. All 3 of his children got married, and he was there for those weddings. And he has now not 4, but as of 7 weeks ago, 5 grandchildren. And he's here for all of that. And I want to echo something that John said. Each of us here who are donors, we made a choice to give a part of our liver. Every member of the Mayo team, I want to thank all of you for the choices you have made. Because the second I walked in the door on January 25th, 2005 and put on a gown, I was done. That was it. The rest of it was all of you who were there, all of you who've come since, taken care of me, him, and my family. And, thank you for the opportunity to be recognized here and to attend and to recognize all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, then now we have Al Simonson. Al is a farmer, western Minnesota, and a father of 2 daughters. When you donated to your sister, your daughters were pretty young at that time. Would you share how you made the decision to come forward as a donor, and whether you had any reservations about, well, what if my daughters ever need a kidney? What happens then? Or how donation might impact your livelihood as a farmer?
Well, I got to start. Then my wife told me I can't swear up here. but he did. So I can start, I'll just, say shit. Then I'm done with it. But no, it was a good experience. I was apprehensive about donating a kidney to my sister. What gave me that strength to donate was my wife, Stephanie, and this woman. And we've had a friendship ever since. That I was nervous, I had a million questions, but Kay had a calming effect with me. Meant a lot. It really did at the time. Or she talked me into it. One of the two. No, I'm kidding. But my sister got 14 years, passed away a few years back. But like everyone here is saying, I gave her the opportunity to have that 14 years, and we had holidays. My daughters got married, all kinds of things happened. That I really needed my sister at those things, and it was an honor to do it. I didn't, my girls, they were young enough, I didn't think of giving them a kidney because Donna needed a kidney. And that's kind of it.
All right, and now we have Mark Webster. You spent your career as CEO of hospitals in the Pennsylvania and New York area, and we're grateful you've joined us here tonight from New York. How did your experience working in healthcare influence your decision to pursue, again, non-directed kidney donation?
Well, first, it's a privilege to be here, and I'm amazed at the diversity of stories that led us all here. So we all came from different backgrounds and different journeys, but we all ended up in the same place. So what a great thing. As I reflect back, I feel like I was almost destined to donate. Our son's an Eagle Scout, and his project years ago was to get people to sign organ donor cards. This was in Pennsylvania, and it was long before it was on your license, your car license. So you had to go around and actually, drum up business. And it was difficult because people don't think about organ donation. The idea for a lot of people is rather challenging, and so we did that. I went to graduate school, and my thesis project was on end-stage renal disease. And I want you to think about that. It's specifically called end-stage renal disease because we're talking about new life in the absence of disease when we do this. So I felt a little almost destined to do this. So I was fortunate. I completed my career having led 3 hospitals in Pennsylvania and New York. And I was exposed to dialysis services, and I got to see how life-changing it was for people. It extended life. Nevertheless, the quality of a person's life on dialysis is certainly not what it is when you have functioning kidneys. So it was one of the first programs that Medicare actually added in to the Medicare program for elderly was because they realized how life-changing it was. So I was very fortunate. I finished my career after 35-plus years. And I'm a great believer that blessed people bless people. And I was blessed in many ways. And so I thought this is a chance for me to give back. So I started investigating. I thought, what is this that I could do? As soon as I retired, I began researching it. And of course, being in healthcare and knowing how hospitals get ranked, Mayo Clinic is always, the top of the top. It's always at the very top, and certainly did not disappoint me based on my experience. So as I looked at it, I thought, wow, this is really neat. And John Maxwell, who's a Christian author, has said that a life that doesn't cost doesn't count. And I wanted my life to count. And I thought, this is a great opportunity. And so I went through the experience, and it was just wonderful. And as a hospital executive, I was often exposed to people would come to me with programs. Physicians would come to me. It'd be like Dr. Tanner coming to me and saying, "Mark, I want to launch this new program," or whatever. And I'd probably ask a lot of questions. I'm guessing that's something like Katie McKee would do. When he comes with a new program, and she'd probably say, "That's a wonderful idea." In her own mind, she's saying, "What is he thinking about?" But she'd ask a lot of questions. But ultimately, she would ask, "Who's a benefit? And how many people? And what's the investment?" Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the return is better than the investment, that you're going to get more out of it than what you put in. And so as an executive, I was always looking for something that had more return than you put in, looking for an asymmetrical investment, where you put a little in and you get a lot out. And as I researched this, kidney donation's exactly that. God gives us 2 kidneys. One's a spare. You don't really need the second one. So think about this. You end up with 2 kidneys. I told my wife, I think God sometimes gives us 2 of something to see if we're willing to share. So you make a one-time donation to somebody, one time, doesn't really affect your health, and that functions for that person for their lifetime, 24/7. I mean, it's an incredible investment. You don't get a deal like that anywhere. And so it's a great thing. So you're always looking for asymmetrical investments, and I'll tell you, kidney donation for me and for many, many others is a real asymmetrical gift. So I happen to believe that giving is the on-ramp to great living. And so all of us should continue on that on-ramp as long as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kay, and thank you. Another round of applause for our amazing panel. And I appreciate everyone hanging in there. We're a little over time because we didn't budget for the missing person that was not on the agenda, but we now have Dr. Taner, Timucin Taner, one of my partners in the Division of Transplant Surgery. He's the leader of the Division of Transplant Surgery, and he is going to have some words for us now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Heimbach, and good evening, everybody. Yes, I am a transplant surgeon, and I feel very privileged, and I told this to many of you when I met you. I consider it as one of the biggest privileges in life, because I get to practice a field of medicine where there's nothing else like in medicine. There's the connection of 2 people, the donor and the recipient. And this connection is not just physical, if you think about it. It's very biological, but it's also emotional, and as you've heard throughout the last 30 minutes or so, it's very intentional, and you did all this. You all stepped forward to have an operation without having a need for an operation yourselves. You were not seeking treatment, and you were choosing deliberately to help someone else. On the day of the surgery, you were the only person at Mayo Clinic who did not need a surgery, if you think about it, of all the hundreds of people who have surgery in this amazing facility. And that's not just generosity. In my opinion, this is selflessness, it's clarity, and it's resolve. That's the kind of decision that reflects commitment, not sentimentality. And you understood those risks. We all talked to you and told you about those risks. You asked hard questions. We tried to answer them as best as we could. And still, you said yes. And as a surgeon, I respect it immensely. Those of you who donated a kidney gave someone else a chance to live free of dialysis for the rest of their lives. Those of you who donated a part of their livers gave a second chance in life in people with end-stage liver disease or liver cancer. And some of you even did both, and we saw that tonight. And that's an act of generosity that I cannot find words to describe. That's an amazing thing. But you don't ask for attention. That's the reality. We appreciate you being here, and we know that you don't need attention. You never dramatize your decision. I know you don't like to be called heroes. You come in focused, you're ready, you trust the process, you trust us, and you have your own reasons for doing this. There's something else that it's sometimes easy to miss, and that's the ripple effect your decision. You obviously saved one life, but in doing so, you impacted the entire family, a workplace, a community. You didn't just extend somebody's life, you changed the trajectory of everybody around them. You also reduced the demand on deceased donor pool. It's something we have to remember. Your donation did not only help your recipient, but it helped the next person waiting in line, because your decision actually gave a better chance for receiving an organ because you created breathing room in the system. And that's not theoretical, it's real. In programs with robust living donor programs like ours in Mayo Clinic, waitlist times for deceased donor are shorter because of you. The outcomes are better because of you. More lives are saved, not just through the donation itself, but through the space it creates for others. One additional thing you did is actually your contribution to the advancement of the entire field. Through your consent to participate in follow-up studies, tissue sampling, blood donations, long-term follow-up, you help us understand the surgical outcomes, the regeneration biology. You help us understand the immunology. You help us advance frontiers like immune modulation these days. Thanks to you and what you did 20, 30 years ago, now we can give even better chances for the recipients with reduction of immunosuppression. So you're not just part of a treatment, you're part of the science that shapes this future of this field. That connection between the donor and recipient I talked about initially, it's not temporary, it's for life, and you know that. You're not part of someone else's medical history, you're part of their story. That's not something we see in any other field in medicine. It's what makes transplant different. That's what makes us all a family gathering here today. And it's what makes your role as a living donor so powerful. So on behalf of all the transplant team, again, I want to thank you, not for being the heroes or in any abstract praise, but for your clarity, for your action, and your willingness to be a part of something bigger than yourselves. We respect it, we rely on it, and we don't take it for granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Timucin. And now, I think from our wonderful AV team, we're going to have a video. All of the staff, we got them, we convinced them to record a message of gratitude for all of you. So thank you. We'll watch this video now. Being involved with living donor transplant is one of the most inspiring parts of my job. There's nothing else in medicine where somebody steps forward to undergo a surgery that they don't actually need to save the life of one of their loved ones, or even in some cases, somebody they don't know. Thank you very much for your gift and for being here.
Thank you for saving a life by doing one of the most selfless things a human being can do, by donating a kidney or a part of your liver.
Cannot thank living donors enough, and I feel so privileged that I get to see such wonderful people every day. You're amazing.
I just want to say thank you to all the living donors. Donation is the cornerstone of transplantation, and without it, we just wouldn't have a functioning transplant program across the nation. So thank you.
I want to extend my utmost gratitude to all of our donors. 3 words come to mind when I think of our living donors: generosity, bravery, and strength. And truly what you do in transforming the lives of your recipient is one of the most uplifting parts of my medical practice. Thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you to all the donors that I've worked with over the years. You're amazing. We thank you for your incredible gift.
On behalf of Transplant Social Work at Mayo Clinic, we thank you, living donors.
Living donors are the true definition of heroes. You are the most giving,
generous human beings on this planet. Thank you for being you and for being amazing.
It's truly an honor to get to work with living kidney donors. We're so grateful that you help to give the gift of life to patients in need, and we can't thank you enough for your contribution to our field, so thank you.
So we'd like to thank you, our living donors, and every day we witness the gift that is giving to our kidney transplant recipients. It's such a great thing for the patients who are able to receive the kidney and live the normal life. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you do.
I see firsthand the results of living donation. So we are very grateful to our living donors.
On behalf of the pharmacy team, thank you for donating.
One of my favorite donor stories involved two sisters, identical twins. One needed a kidney transplant. The other was an identical match, obviously, and was her donor. Later that year, we got a phone call from the Minnesota twins. They went out and threw out the opening pitch for Twins Day. Quite memorable for those two sisters.
Your generosity means everything to us and the community we serve. Thank you again so much.
On behalf of the research team, thank you for your incredible gift. Your generosity drives discovery and changes lives.
On behalf of Mayo Clinic, thank you, living donors. I'm so glad you could gather in a sense of community this evening.
We want to extend our eternal gratitude and thanks to all of you who have given the gift of life. Some of you know who you've given that gift to, and some of you don't know. I think of nothing more noble, not only in medicine, but outside of medicine than that.
Your contributions are immeasurable, and the impact you have on our care is something that will live in eternity.
Thank you.
On behalf of Mayo Clinic, we would like to thank all of the living organ donors.
Do you all know how amazing you are? Thank you so much from Mayo Clinic.
The most exciting components of my job at Mayo Clinic has been the ability to work with the Living Donor Transplant Program. The opportunity to interact and work with such an amazing group of selfless individuals whose dedication to the well-being of others is rewarding beyond measure. Thank you for all that you've done for the program, but most importantly, for the patients whose lives have been forever changed by your incredible gift. Thank you again.
Living donors inspire us by their decision to undergo surgery, not for personal benefit, but to save someone else's life. Living organ donation is one of the most courageous and selfless acts we witness.
Thank you to our living donors. Your gift gives hope and inspires our care team to give their very best each and every day. You are our true heroes.
All potential and past living kidney donors, the true pioneers of kidney transplantation. The first ever transplant performed was between two identical twins. That means a living donor gave that first kidney. Without that landmark procedure and that person willing to donate, we would not have kidney transplantation. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts.
You give me hope for a day without a wait list for kidney and liver transplant, for a beloved community, for a world defined by generosity and compassion. Thank you, living donors.
You are the true superheroes of the program.
We would like to extend our deepest gratitude from the Living Donor Coordinators for your selfless generosity.
For giving the gift of life.
Thank you for being a donor.
Thank you to living donors. I'm always impressed by people's desire to help recipients change their lives, and you stepping forward makes such a difference to those people who we see year by year waiting for a kidney. Thanks so much.
On behalf of 10-2, thank you for being a living donor.
I'd
like to thank all of the living donors for their generous gift for our transplant recipients. Your kindness and generosity is unmatched and so greatly appreciated. Thank you very much from the bottom of all our hearts.
Say thank you for donating on behalf of our DES team.
On behalf of the transplant social workers, we want to thank all the living donors. You've given not only your organ, but a gift of hope and life, and have made a true impact.
It is the best gift you could ever give someone.
Hello, donors from Mayo Clinic. Thank you so much for being here today. You are truly heroes, and if it weren't for you all, the patients that we are able to help and you are able to help would not be possible. So thank you for your gifts.
Thank you for being a living donor. It's been an honor to take care of you and at the countless lives that you saved.
Thank you for your gift, for your living donor gift, especially liver, kidney, and everybody that's gone above and beyond to make a change in someone else's life. Your gift has truly inspired us. It made us better providers. And what you have done has touched so many lives. It's just a beautiful thing. I cannot thank you enough.
To all the living donors that have come before, we thank you from the nursing perspective for all you've done for all of the recipients out there.
To our donors, thank you for your generosity and giving others another chance at life. You are inspiring us all.
Our donors are inspirational and selfless.
I hear that we have a lot of living donors in the audience. About half the people who don't have a living donor actually never make it to transplant. They actually die on the waiting list. So living donation is life-saving. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you to all living donors.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
It was always an inspiration to the transplant team to see the effort in time, travel, and personal commitment and sacrifice that all of you made to donate an organ to someone in need. I hope the experience has been beneficial for you as well as the recipient, that you have had healthy and productive lives. You are real superheroes. Thank you.
I wanted to use this opportunity to thank all the donors reunited today for what they did. Donating is saving somebody's life. It is to me akin to jumping into a river to rescue somebody. You had an opportunity to change a loved one or a friend's life, and you did it. So you are our heroes, and I'm sorry I cannot be there with you today, but we all love you and we are very grateful for what you did. Thank you.